Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning, and what a show we have in store for you. Not only, of course, we'll be talking about the State of the Union, we're also going to be joined by Sheriff Jim Allard, fan favorite. He'll be joining us in the 7 o'clock hour. And also, we're going to hear from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano and Joe Sempolinski, audio from Palmisano, a quote from Sempolinski, a new plan for energy relief in New York State. I think you're going to be very interested in hearing about that, so we can't miss that opportunity to play that. But first, let's go to some viewer comments. This came in late last night. Frank, knowing your time frame to get up in the morning, we're taking bets as to if you're staying up for the speech tonight. Well, let me tell you, it's always a safe bet if something is occurring after 8 p.m. on a weekday that I will not be attending or watching. Historically, even going back to radio, the State of the Union has so much pomp and circumstance and with the clapping and things like that. I found years ago that it's easier to watch in the morning where there are outlets that have that all kind of faded out and cut out, so it's much more succinct. And boy, I guess last night, thank you for joining us, for those that are. It was a long one, huh? Record-breaking. We're going to talk about that. Jack writes in and says good morning. Well, thank you. Good morning, Jack. He watched the entire speech and noticed during the State of the Union address, whenever the left didn't stand for the people whose family members were murdered by illegals, the camera kept tight on President Trump. Interesting. If he hadn't called them out, telling them that they should be ashamed of themselves, I wouldn't have known they didn't applaud. I especially liked when he called them crazy. This was the best speech Trump has ever made. Historic. That was exactly what this country needed, to expose the left as to what they represent. Absolutely history in the making. I've got a piece exactly on that, Jack. That perhaps the biggest takeaway or the biggest victory in all the speech was to highlight this idea that the media has tried to present it as the left has learned their lesson from kind of the woke culture and the extreme positions, and that they're more quote-unquote moderate, like the person that they touted in the State of the Union response, even though she got into office and instantly made it a sanctuary state, and a whole bunch of different far-left positions. But it highlighted the left, and President Trump has done a great job after the fact of doing that. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. So thank you for your recap, Jack. I appreciate that. But yes, that's an old trick. Make sure not to show the Democrats looking bad by not standing. And boy, there was some touching moments. Steve writes in, good morning. Well, good morning, Steve. Last night during the State of the Union address, the Democrats proved just how much angst they have towards law-abiding citizens in the United States. Trump actually gave them an opportunity and a way out of showing how much they hate the citizens. When he said, all you have to do is stand in solidarity with us to say that you're for American citizens over illegal immigrants, the Democrats absolutely positively refused to stand, which shows exactly how much they hate the law-abiding citizen. Even when given the opportunity to show that they're not as extreme as they are, they chose to prove that they do not care about the citizens. They are for illegal immigrants well before they are for the hardworking people in this country. This proves to be probably the saddest moment in the history of our country. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate your recap as well. All right. Oh, but did you see before the State of the Union that Marco Rubio delivered a rare briefing to top U.S. lawmakers on Iran? That was a few hours because they knew that Iran would most likely come up in the State of the Union address, where Trump would say that Tehran would never be allowed to develop nuclear weapons. Interesting. We can talk maybe a little bit more about that, but I just saw that as kind of a breaking story that maybe glanced over because of the coverage of the State of the Union. Like this, one other last breaking story, and then into the State of the Union. Kamala Harris, former presidential contender, she refused to rule out another White House run. Now, this is one way to start the broadcast. She left the door open when asked if she'd consider another run at the White House. Podcast host and author Sharon McMahon said everybody here wants to know the answer. Will you run again? To which Harris responded, and I quote, I haven't decided. So the host, being the world-renowned, who is it, Sharon McMahon? I don't know who that is, saying you're still thinking about it. which Kamala responded, "I might." How about that for starting your morning? Has not ruled out another White House run. So Kamala had the first run that never saw her actually reach a primary. She dropped out in December before the primaries began after her collapse. Then she kind of, how did the article put it yesterday, failed into being vice president. And then, of course, we saw the disastrous display in her 107 days running for president. Again, never receiving a primary vote. And how much, what was it? Almost $2 billion, 2.5. We've heard some different numbers, but billions of dollars in her campaign. And Trump victorious in a landslide victory, not just in the Electoral College, but in the popular vote. Though the Electoral College is all that matters. Okay, enough about that. President Trump boasted that he pulled off an economic turnaround for the ages in what is the longest State of the Union address in history. What was the final number? I've heard a couple of different things. Just in minute form, it's 108 minutes is what I heard, beating the previous record set by Donald Trump. Though some said that I thought it went Clinton at 129, an hour and 29, and then it was Trump last year with an hour 39. I guess because maybe this is technically a State of the Union, the last was a joint session, that maybe now this is the record-breaking year. Trump played cheerleader-in-chief to a vast TV audience, describing the country as thriving while bringing stability to the world and dusting off his signature campaign line about voters fearing the country would be, quote, winning too much. He also took a swipe, and we're going to go through what some of the kind of maybe more far-left organizations like CNN, what their takeaways are from it, but let's enjoy what we saw either last night, if you watched it last night, or in my case this morning. He did take a dig, and this was the big question that I asked at the Supreme Court for striking down his tariffs, which he credited for bringing America's economic turnaround, and blamed Democrats for having caused the affordability crisis. He also touted new economic proposals. We'll talk a little bit about that. I don't want to fall in to the trap of quoting him too much, because you can watch those clips for yourself. But here we go. 1 hour, 48 minutes. I think, well, I can't say, because there's some people that really hate Trump. But the takeaway for many should be the celebration of the U.S. men's hockey team. I mean, there are a lot of other more important to the world takeaways, but that was one where I would hope that you could unify. But then again, I see things on social media with such a hatred for Trump. As a matter of fact, what was the actor's name? I can never. Michael Ian Black. He said that the hockey team was being used by a fascist, meaning Trump was using them. So here I am talking my way through this, and yes, of course, nothing will unify when it is Trump delivering a message to people that have the derangement syndrome. So he talked about affordability. He talked about it being the affordability crisis being Biden's fault. Oh, you know what? And we've talked about this on the program from early on. He said that tariffs are going to substantially replace income tax. Now, the president didn't explode on the Supreme Court, as some critics and allies kind of expected him to. He politely, shaking his hands with all four justices, when he first came in, shaking hands with all four justices that showed up, including 3 who had voted against him. So Amy Coney Barrett, Alina Kagan, and John Roberts. Trump said during the speech, one of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P hit 7,000, where it wasn't supposed to do it for many years, were tariffs. I used these tariffs, took in hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us off so badly. He said the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, knowing that the legal power that I as president have to make a new deal could be far worse for them. I don't want to go... yeah, let's talk a little bit more about this. So the U.S. hockey team, some of the people he praised range from American heroes, Olympic gold medalists, decorated war veterans. Early in his speech, he congratulated the Team USA. He also announced he would award goalie Connor Hellebuyck the Presidential Medal of Freedom, saying, I told them this, meaning the team, and we took a vote of the team. I said, anybody votes no, I'm not going to do it. So they stood there, and they weren't about to say no because I had never seen a goaltender play as well as goalie Connor Hellebuyck. I think about 46 shots at goal. I just want to tell you that the members of this great hockey squad will be very happy to hear based on their vote and my vote. And in this case, my vote was more important. I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which he will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. Great athletes have gotten that, and I thought he deserved it. Thunderous chants of USA and applause broke out after Trump congratulated them. It was one of the loudest applauses of the night, though many Democrats only briefly clapped for Team USA. Well, that goes back to what we talked about earlier in the week, where places like Huffington Post said it's very uncomfortable for them to see patriotism, to see chants of USA and the flag being waved. The president then honored World War II veteran George Buddy Taggart, who turns 100 years old on July the 4th. Taggart volunteered to defend America in World War II, serving in the Pacific under the great General Douglas MacArthur. Trump noted that the veteran fought bravely in the famous Battle of Manila and was badly wounded and almost killed by enemy machine guns in Luzon. And 81 years ago this month, he liberated the largest internment camp in the Philippines, one of the largest anywhere in the world. Buddy earned many honors, including a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, came home, started a family, and tonight he is in the gallery looking forward to July 4, 2026, his 100th birthday. What an honor. So many. And Trump is such a, I know the term's overused because some on the left try to use it as a negative, but such a showman that really makes this an event. He also awarded the Medal of Honor to the hero pilot who was wounded in the Maduro raid. He awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor to one of the pilots. Chief Warrant Officer Eric Slover and his wife, Amy, were in the House chamber for the speech, garnering a standing ovation and shouts of USA. So, I mean, just moment after moment. Awarding the Purple Heart to the National Guard member who was ambushed in Washington, D.C., Andrew Wolf, and deceased Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, two National Guard members who were quickly injured and fatally shot by a gunman who ambushed them while on duty last year in Washington, D.C. Now, when we return, we'll tell you some of the disturbing, as we've had comments already on this, kind of the disturbing way Democrats made their opinions known. For not standing, not clapping at certain instances. We know that Al Green, he's found his niche now. He got escorted out last year. This year, escorted out again for holding a sign that we'll talk about in a little bit. To a viewer's question about boycotts, I did receive a press release that Jasmine Crockett was boycotting it. So there must have been some people that thought that would maybe get more media attention. Because really, the disruptions at the end of the day are about the media attention. I know, was it Ilhan Omar that called Trump a murderer? Just very childish behavior at the State of the Union, time and time again. And I know the media's new talking point is, well, Republicans in the past. Well, like Ken mentioned yesterday, give us more than just the example of yelling at Obama, you lie. And then, of course, certain times you stand, certain times you don't, okay? But give us more examples of that because it has been a circus with the Democrats every year with Trump in there. Whether people are looking to get escorted or to heckle or escorted out, or heckled or whatever the case may be. I mean, I saw reports of a lot of the Congress members had brought illegal alien or anti-ICE protesters, these type of groups in as their guests. We'll talk about as much of it as we can. We do have a very busy morning. We've got to get to those New York State issues probably before Sheriff Allard comes in. Then we have Sheriff Allard in, so get your questions in for him. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
With the games in full swing, Stop in Hesselson's today and see why owning a sauna will bring calmness and stress relief naturally. Infrared, traditional rock saunas, and hybrid saunas. Hesselson's has them all on display in their expanded and remodeled showroom. Better circulation. Detox the skin through sweating. Feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. Now is the time to make every day better with your own sauna, starting at just $39.99. And remember, after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
The best hockey rink?
Ask Google. The best jewelry store? Ask Google.
The best Ram dealer?
Ask Google. We did. Google reviews from customers rank Ferrario Ram in Elmira the highest Ram dealer in our area.
If you don't see me, I can't save you any money.
Check out the new Rams with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty during Ram Truck Month.
Visit Ferrario in Elmira or at Ferrario.com.
It's tax time, and Current Power Sports is here to help your refund go further. For the month of February, we're covering the sales tax on any new CF Moto machine purchase, plus select accessories. That means big savings on machines built to work hard, ride far, and handle anything you could throw at them. Why pay more than you have to? Let us cover the tax. Stop by Current Power Sports in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, or Pine City, New York, and save big on your next CF Moto. Limitations apply. See store for details.
Morning, the snow showers out there this morning will gradually mix with a little rain as we do have temperatures push into the low 40s this afternoon. Winds a little breezy out of the west-southwest, so highs commonly in the low 40s. Then tonight, dropping into the upper teens with snow showers that should taper off rather early on. Then the rest of the forecast, not much for precipitation until potentially Sunday night and onward. We'll have more of a temperature roller coaster.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. As you can see, the roads are a little bit messy out there. I think they're getting to it now, cleaning up. Coming in this morning, it was a little bit hairy, so please be careful on your way into school or your way into work. All right, we are back. So the mother of the Ukrainian refugee, Ernia Zrutska, who was murdered by a repeat offender out on no cash bail in North Carolina. The mother broke down in tears as President Trump recounted the attack during the State of the Union, saying Irana's killer stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget the people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker. In the last seconds of her life, she died instantly. Her mother teared up while leaning into comfort provided by a man at her side. She had escaped a brutal war, only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, Trump said. Mrs. Zrutska, tonight I promise you that we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter. And this huge applause. Oh, there's a comment. I'll get to your comment. I'm sorry, I forgot to read it. Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, was sitting beside Anna and appeared to offer words of condolences. During the emotional moment, Trump called out Democrats who didn't appear to rise for the standing ovation. How do you not stand? He said, gesturing towards Democrats. And there's a prime example of what Jack was talking about. The camera's not focused on those not standing. How do you not stand? That wasn't the only time he would say that. He did, mentioning Erica Kirk, he said during the State of the Union about Charlie Kirk, I'm very proud to say that during my time in office, both the first 4 years and in particular this last year, there's been a tremendous renewal in religion, faith, Christianity, and belief in God. Tremendous renewal. This is especially true among young people, and a big part of that had to do with my great friend, Charlie Kirk. Last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin and martyred for his beliefs. His wonderful wife, Erica, is with us tonight. In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind. We love religion, and we love bringing it back. It's coming back at levels that nobody actually thought possible. It's really a beautiful thing to see. Trump also blasts Democrats for refusing to stand for protecting Americans over illegal aliens. He said, tonight I'm inviting every legislator every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up. This is the showman. And show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. Of course, J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson rose to their feet, as did Republicans in the chamber. But scores, many Democrats, didn't take Trump's hint as they remained firmly fixed to their seats. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly was one of the prominent Democrats who was stony-faced before left-wing Minnesota firebrand Ilhan Omar decided that was the moment to heckle Trump, calling him a murderer and saying you have killed Americans. Trump, not allowing it, said you should be ashamed of yourself for not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, I receive, as I mentioned, it's plentiful, the emails that I received from the Office of Communications at the White House. I don't know how I got on the list. I'm glad I have. They sent out press release after press release. So the White House released I guess you'd call it a press release. Democrats showed whose side they are on, and it's not the American people. This was a speech of renewal and resolve, yet congressional Democrats, consumed by delusional hatred and obstruction, refused to join in celebrating these victories for the American people. Last night, Democrats refused to applaud. Buckle up, this is the list. Democrats refused to applaud, reaffirming the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. 2, the grieving families of innocent American women and children murdered by criminal illegal aliens, including the mother of Irina Zaruska, a North Carolina woman savagely killed on public transit by an illegal alien monster. Next, securing our homeland, and finally ending the invasion of savage criminal illegal aliens, killers, rapists, gang members, and traffickers with the strongest, most secure border in American history. The Democrats wouldn't stand for prioritizing American citizens over illegal aliens, unifying against political violence, inflation finally subsiding after years of Democrat-driven price shocks that crushed working families, keeping violent criminals locked up, lower prescription drug prices for millions of Americans, the decisive military action that brought indicted narco-terrorist Nicolas Maduro to justice, crippling drug cartels and liberating our hemisphere from vicious narco-trafficking terrorists. Democrats wouldn't stand for protecting minor children from the horrors of irreversible sex changes, gas prices dropping to multi-year lows, putting money back in American pockets, law enforcement officers being respected once again after years of vilification, the financial futures of millions of American newborns through Trump accounts, protecting the integrity of our elections by preventing illegal aliens from undermining our democracy, banning large corporations from scooping up single-family homes, ensuring they remain available for working Americans, ending widespread fraud schemes like the $19 billion Somali fraud scandal that burdened Minnesota taxpayers, warrior dividends for our great military heroes, reducing the flow of deadly fentanyl across our border by a record 56% in 1 year, the single largest drop in the murder rate in 125 years, making our streets safer, explosive growth in retirement accounts and 401k for millions of hardworking Americans, landmark tax relief through the Working Families Tax Cuts Act, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and more historic savings, a World War II hero who helped liberate the largest internment camp in the Philippines, ending 8 wars and delivering peace through unmatched American strength, America's military might restoring respect and fear among our adversaries, massive economic growth, and total victory over terrorists abroad. The press release ends. President Trump has proven what is possible when Americans put its own citizens first, and Democrats clearly agree. So that is the list where the Democrats would not stand and clap. As I mentioned, Jasmine Crockett, I know we got to take a break. Jasmine Crockett boycotted the State of the Union. That was her way of trying to get some of the media attention. Texas Representative Al Green, listen, he found his niche. He got escorted out last year. He wanted to do it again. Last night, Green held up a sign that read, quote, "Black people aren't apes," end quote, as Trump entered the floor of the House of Representatives. So he was escorted out. Republicans moved fast to try to mask Green's message from public eyes, especially those watching on TV or online. Anyway, CNN's Caitlin Collins said, I think what stood out to me as we were watching this is, this is not unfamiliar territory for the president. He has delivered many of these addresses. He's now broken his own record on how long he has spoken. Well, that can't be the case. So before we get into her point, weren't we told over and over again he has no stamina, that he's losing it? He just isn't the same Trump he used to be. So how could he break a record from years past? The math doesn't add up. So when the media who did not report and hid the real mental decline of Joe Biden that we all saw firsthand, when they hid that, lied about it, called you a conspiracy theorist if you thought differently than what they were telling you in their propaganda, they are now telling us that Trump is unhealthy, that he has no energy, no stamina, but somehow he broke his own record and the biggest record, I guess, for a State of the Union, longest address. Just doesn't add up. So what does Collins say? But these moments as he was in there and at the beginning, obviously getting started, he was largely looking over to the left side of the chamber where a lot of the Republicans were sitting. Then he began looking at the right side as Democrats, obviously, were not standing for what he believed should be applause lines during his speech. And he was getting increasingly irritated by it. And at one point stopping and saying, these people are crazy, I can't believe they're not standing for this. The one thing I saw them all standing for was when they were talking about insider trading and banning that, and he made an offhand joke about Nancy Pelosi. Casey Hunt said, well, not all of them were standing, but a handful of them were. Collins then said, well. But there were more applause when Senator Elizabeth Warren was standing, and that obviously stood out to the president himself. This goes to show you how, I'm not going to say naive but really how ignorant they are on politics, and especially the showmanship, I'm going to stop using that term, but of President Trump. So they believe he was actually taking some extreme offense and got more upset after more upset. Do you realize that him, to Jack's point, by calling them out, the cameras were forced to show the Democrats not standing for some points that I don't even know how you can justify, even if you have a D next to your name. I don't know how you can justify not standing for some of these instances. So for Trump to call it out wasn't him being irritated. I'm sure there's a point where you can't believe it, that you could be that disrespectful to some of these people. But also calling it out showed the American people that this is what the Democrat Party stands for. And when we return, there is a piece on that. That ties into what many of you had to say. We'll talk about that when we return. Stay with us. We're running late. Keep those waves, keep those comments coming in. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because the real commentator on all this isn't the CNNs of the world and the, whatever outlets. It's you. So I want to hear what you have to say. Stay with us.
An albino baby buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bus.
Day one of the National Glider Competition.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world.
Hey, you're sober? You drive.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over.
A lead flight from Elmira to Myrtle Beach starts May 22nd, 2026. Whether it's a weekend escape or a week in the sun, Myrtle Beach is closer than ever. Non-stop to sun, sand, and seaside days. From takeoff to toes in the sand, your coastal getaway starts right here at Elmira Corning Regional. Mornings on the boardwalk, afternoons on the golf course, and evenings with oceanfront dining or a flight away with Allegiant's new direct flight. Starts May 22nd, 2026. Book now at AllegiantAir.com.
United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
Good morning. The snow showers out there this morning will gradually mix with a little rain, as we do have temperatures push into the low 40s this afternoon. Winds a little breezy out of the west-southwest, so highs commonly in the low 40s. Then tonight, dropping into the upper teens with snow showers that should taper off rather early on. Then the rest of the forecast, not much for precipitation until potentially Sunday night and onward. We'll have more of a temperature roller coaster.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. A couple of viewer comments. The U.S. women's hockey team was also announced that they will be attending the White House. When will the critics learn that they are so far out of touch with reality that they should just keep their thoughts to themselves because they keep being proved wrong over and over again? Comment from a different viewer. A bit of a digression of the current subject. Good morning. Good morning. Regarding upstate becoming the 51st state, if county elected officials who are seemingly either lazy or just plain not interested in this pursuit are not willing to get the ball rolling, then it must be done at a grassroots level. For those of us who are serious about getting rid of the downstate Democrat riffraff among other areas of the state, I would encourage each and every one of you to write, email, or visit your local media outlets and encourage them to bring this issue to the forefront. Unless you want the current wave of socialism, which is becoming increasingly prevalent in New York City, for example. We need to nip this in the bud. The sooner the better, since once the roots of socialism take firm hold, the next step is a communist dictatorship, which the authoritarian Democrats are eager for and obviously willing to support. Okay, so on the State of the Union, the New York Post editorial board said President Donald Trump hit it out of the park again with his State of the Union address. Perhaps his most remarkable speech yet. The frame was an unabashed celebration of America in its 250th year, hailing heroes from the Olympic hockey team. 2 100-year-old veterans, and with a close reiterating why the nation's best days are yet to come. He was a happy warrior we'd asked him to be, with a strong, clear message untainted by grievance, even as he expressed his disappointment with last week's Supreme Court ruling on tariffs and drew clear distinctions between his programs and his oppositions. He definitely drew out the lunacy of Democrats' positions on illegal immigrants or immigration, crime, and trans issues, time and again flagging their obsession with peculiar quote-unquote rights at the expense of common sense. And of course, rightly delivered a powerful economic message. He flagged the inflation, wage stagnation, and other horrors produced when Democrats ran Washington as the causes of the affordability crisis. He explained how Americans' lives are now getting better, rising wages, lower gas prices, tax rebates coming, and should keep improving. He got the opposition to rise in applause for some things, the gold medalists, the other military and civilian heroes he honored, then called them out as they refused to stand even when he called for justice for Charlotte murder victim Irina Zarutska. How stark the line, a clear choice for voters in the midterms, when he declared that our government's first duty is to protect U.S. citizens, not illegal immigrants, and Democrats sat silent as Republicans cheered. At one point, Trump saying these people are crazy as he pointed to the left side of the chamber. He had policy brags, Trump accounts for kids, lower prescription drug prices, victories over crime in D.C. and nationwide, and a big theme like cheering religious revival and denouncing political violence as he honored the late Charlie Kirk. He had poetry, particularly in his closing. He innovated a whole new kind of State of the Union drama, not just recognizing his guests, but having many enter on cue, awarding medals and other signal honors as appropriate and leading the room in both applause and profound sympathy. Even in a record-long speech, he couldn't cover everything he and his team are doing for the country, nor all the reasons to expect a bright future this year and in the long term. Yet he gave listeners good cause to believe that the State of the Union is indeed strong and solid reason to know which party deserves the credit. And you did see the kind of the temper tantrums by some. I know Ilhan Omar heckled and raged when Trump called out Somali pirates. This is when Trump announced that he had designated J.D. Vance to head the war on fraud, saying, "So tonight, although we started 4 months ago, I'm officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. Let's get it done. We were able to find enough of that fraud. We will actually have a balanced budget overnight. It will go very quickly. That's the kind of money you're talking about. We'll balance our budget." The Somali pirates who ransacked, he knew he was looking for that response, ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings us problems right here to the U.S., and it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. Omar shouted that he's a liar. Okay. Democrats honored anti-ICE activists, illegal aliens at the State of the Union. According to the Department of Homeland Security, many Democrat congressmen and senators have brought illegal aliens and their family members as their guests of honor to Trump's first State of the Union of his second term. Among those Democrats honoring illegal aliens in the State of the Union, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator John Hickenlooper, and Representative Seth Moulton. Likewise, Ilhan Omar is bringing an anti-ICE activist whom DHS officials have said attempted to obstruct ICE agents while they were arresting a criminal illegal alien. Gavin Newsom, who we know is trying to make a name for himself ahead of that presidential run, this is how weak it's getting. His shtick is getting so old. I'm not saying that from a Republican or Democrat perspective. I'm saying it's just getting tiresome. And this is coming, we could talk more about what many people are calling his racist speech. It doesn't seem like the people around him are handling it well. As one reporter, when asked the question, or his one spokesperson, when asked the question, told the reporter from a friendly outlet to blank off. So, and then he was called out by, who was it that he was called out? He's been called out by a lot of prominent people, even in his own party. And now I forget who it was. I had the piece. Oh, Cornel West, that's who it was, calling him out. But anyway, Gavin Newsom found time to do his shtick, which I guess is going to take him right to the White House if you listen to political commentators. He said, what was it that he called him? He said something about his hair. You're going to need, it didn't print, are you kidding me? It was basically, you're going to need to start using the same hair gel as I do, Trump. Yep, went with all that to pick on his hair, because those jokes have never been done before. But that there tells us that he is ready to be president. I don't know. We can talk about that. I see some comments coming in. Keep them coming in. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Ferrari Auto Team!
The best hot cocoa?
Ask Google. The best ski resort? Ask Google.
The best Jeep dealer?
Ask Google. We did. Google reviews from customers rank Ferrario Jeep in Elmira the highest Jeep dealer in our area.
If you don't see me, I can't save you any money.
Check out the new Jeeps during our President's Day sales event.
Visit Ferrario in Elmira or at Ferrario.com.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
Good morning. The snow showers out there this morning will gradually mix with a little rain as we do have temperatures push into the low 40s this afternoon. Winds a little breezy out of the west-southwest, so highs commonly in the low 40s. Then tonight, dropping into the upper teens with snow showers that should taper off rather early on. Then the rest of the forecast, not much for precipitation until potentially Sunday night and onward. We'll have more of a temperature roller coaster with warm.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back. Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Let's go to some viewer comments here. Interesting. Is it because Democrats sit on the left side of the auditorium that they are known as the left? Or is it because they're always on the wrong side of an issue? I don't know where that came from. That's a fair question. I've heard that asked in the past. I don't remember what the answer was. Because I guess it depends on which perspective you have. Isn't it to Trump's left that he's pointing, but they're actually on the kind of the right side, like stage right or stage left? I don't know. I don't have an answer for you on that, but that's a good question. Mark writes in, good morning, Frank, and good morning, Mark. I thought President Trump did a great speech. As far as the Democrats, they're despicable and showed their true colors, that they don't care about you and me. It's all them. There was a lot of childish behavior, that's for sure. Let's take a quick, because we're going to have to move fast. As I said, I have something I'm really excited to tell you about that the Republican conference in Albany is pushing about energy. And we're going to hear from Phil Palmisano a little bit later on. In the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to talk with Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard. So make sure you get all your questions in for the sheriff. So let's take a couple looks at the far left. The New York Times had their 6 takeaways from Trump's State of the Union. 1, Trump tried to define Democrats on his own terms. Throughout the night, Trump taunted the Democrats in the chamber and tried to portray them as anti-American and unelectable. On nearly every issue, he tried to bait his opponents into showing support for his priorities. Listen, the fact that they bring this up and try to make it sound like a negative shows you how bad the optics are for Democrats on this. Because he tried to define Democrats on his own terms. No, they defined themselves on their own terms. There was nothing forcing. Okay, yes, I understand some of the things that Trump said, some of his priorities, they're not going to stand for. We can all agree with that. Some of that was just kind of for fun. But there were numerous examples throughout that speech where the Democrats should have stood up and not been hesitant to stand up and clap, and they didn't. So no, they defined themselves in this. He deployed the tactic early in his speech. I'm not going to go through all that. We're just going to do the takeaways quickly. The former reality TV star put on a show, said the New York Times. Mr. Trump is well aware of the power of images, and he filled his speech with surprises and dramatic moments. The president welcomed the Olympic champion U.S. men's ice hockey team, who emerged from behind doors at the balcony above Mr. Trump and announced he would be awarding the team's goalie the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He invited Air Force Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, one of 2 National Guard members who was shot in Washington, D.C. last year, to make an appearance. After describing Mr. Wolf's injuries in graphic terms, Trump surprised him with a Purple Heart. He recognized the former prisoner of the Nicolas Maduro regime and reunited him with his niece. He then appeared in the House Chamber 2. I'm not sure what that means. Trump struggled to acknowledge America's economic pain, and you knew that was going to be the talking point. So if it were Biden giving the speech, like we had the 4 years that Biden gave the State of the Union, we were always told, and remember, I predicted wrong, but if they could have, they would have said it was his best debate performance of all time. But I always mentioned when a Democrat has a State of the Union address, it's always going to be the best speech of their life. It's always going to be perhaps one of the best State of the Union speeches in history. That's always the case. You can write the article ahead of time. That's why I thought they would do it for Biden during the debate. I thought, well, if he just gets 1 or 2 talking points out there and doesn't fumble right from the beginning, which he did, he clearly did. History has proven how bad that debate performance was, but it wasn't just the performance. It was because the media had covered up his mental decline for so long. Anyway, I think they would have tried to do that there. With Trump, you know, it's always going to be, oh, he tried to acknowledge economic pain. Oh, he didn't land with his numbers. They did this his first term. Trump did not spend much time talking about Iran, is another takeaway. Supreme Court justices stayed mostly stone-faced. That's what they're supposed to do. What? And remember, there's only 4 justices who sat there. The only 4 justices attending the speech: John Roberts, Alina Kagan, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. So you had one Democrat, you can argue, I know, with recent decisions, but one selected by a Democrat president, Alina Kagan. And finally, Trump talked of others' fraud, but not his own ethical issues. There you go, New York Times. Thank you for that. Again, the New York Times saying Trump talked of his other fraud, or talked of others' fraud, but not his own ethical issues. Okay. Would that, after President Joe Biden's State of the Union, would the New York Times ever have said Biden didn't speak of his own ethical issues? He never once mentioned Hunter Biden and the dealings with the big guy and the questions of corruption. Of course not. This is so predictable. But you can tell by reading through the lines, between the lines, that Trump did a fantastic job, because they are downplaying how impactful it was, but admitting in some ways, oh, well, it was a show, or he tried to make Democrats clap at his own terms. No, they showed their true colors. But again, if this were a Democrat giving the speech, if it weren't President Trump, it would be called the defining moment, perhaps, of his presidency. It'd be called one, especially this part of the term when you're coming up to midterms, it would be described as not only the best speech Trump ever gave, the best speech at a State of a Union. That's how they would word it if it were a Democrat. It's so predictable. When we come back, we'll give you another predictable piece just quickly. And that's from CNN and their takeaways. Keep your takeaways. So those are what are important. Your thoughts on last night's State of the Union is 6:46. So you still maybe be recovering from that 1 hour. What we say 1 hour and 46 minute. A little bit of 1 hour 47. Excuse me. Give credit where credit's due. 1 hour and 47 minute speech. So you may still be recovering. You may be sleeping in. So if you're just joining us, I want to hear your takeaways from the State of the Union. Stay with us. We'll be right back. But frankly speaking, here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and Horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
It's the home of Tivity. Release your inner audio engineer. Create with the 3D printer. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to your local library today.
Small businesses are the heart of America. Like you, these entrepreneurs started out with a dream and the drive to build a better life. If you have a small business idea to grow or challenge to face, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1964, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses. Today, they are the nation's largest nonprofit source of expert mentoring, resources, and education. Whether you're starting out, building back, or have worked at it for years, SCORE will match you with specialized mentors. Our thousands of volunteers provide the guidance and connections you need for free. Your success is waiting. SCORE is ready to help. Find a mentor today at SCORE.org.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street Recording. A comment from a viewer. Not only did the Democrats show their true colors, but had reinforced the previous immature mindset that they displayed when President Trump first took over and gave a lengthy speech. At that time, many Democrats walked out, and those that remained, blinded by hate, couldn't even applaud the young man who wanted to become a Secret Service agent. Yes, he wanted, well, I think Trump made him an official Secret Service agent, but he wanted to become law enforcement. Remember, he had badges from all over the country. Well, takeaways from Donald Trump's State of the Union, according to CNN. So we heard from far left New York Times. Now we hear from CNN. Trump goads Democrats on immigration after gesturing at angel moms whose children were victimized by undocumented immigrants. Remember, this is written by CNN. Victimized, not murdered. There's a lot of angel moms. That's what an angel mom's considered. Trump said voting for Democrats would be voting to reopen America's borders. Can I read that again? And this is only sentence number 1. Well, no, let's read from the beginning. Trump has struggled to halt his declining political fortunes in recent months, but as he tried to frame up the 2026 election, he turned to an old faithful, immigration. After gesturing at angel moms whose children were victimized by undocumented immigrants. Wow. Well, we know where they're coming from right off the bat. So it was all about Democrats remain seated. So again, they know that was impactful. They know, because that's why they're now trying to mock it or ridicule it or say that Trump was using it as a political ploy. They know that was very, very effective. Meanwhile, Republicans sought to emphasize the moment, standing and applauding for a long time to show the contrast. And that's when Trump said, "We can never forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had a chance." Then he challenged Democrats to applaud. He urged members to stand up and show support if they agreed with the statement that, quote, "the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens." Democrats remained seated. Republicans went for quite some time, standing and clapping. Eventually, Trump spoke again and told Democrats, "You should be ashamed of yourself for not standing." Of course, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar yelled at Trump, despite Democrat leaders having previously warned their members against outbursts. Oh, come on. They say that, but they wanted the outburst. A couple key points on tariffs. He mentioned tariffs. We don't have to go through that. Democrats lodged multiple protests. Wait a minute. Didn't you just tell us they weren't supposed to do that? Someone walked out in the middle of a speech, I guess. I don't know. Showmanship abounds. Trump is nothing if not a showman, and Tuesday's speech includes plenty of stagecraft. Medals also abound. Well, don't downplay it like that. I don't like that. Anyway, the notable omissions. Trump steered clear of some key vulnerabilities, because we know historically presidents try to bring up their biggest vulnerabilities during the State of the Union. He attacked Democrats for the current shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security, but he didn't mention the reason Democrats have held out, because immigration agents killed 2 U.S. citizens. He didn't mention the Epstein files. He didn't spend much time on all his prescriptions for the economy and affordability. So again, it's too bad he didn't take note from every past president who just brought up their vulnerabilities. Trump offers a rare case for potential Iran strike, an ominous line on voter fraud. Ominous. Okay, I know, I'm running out of time. A characteristic cavalcade of falsehoods. Yep. Again, I wish they would fact check when it was like Biden or any other president. But with Trump, and then you ever notice their fact checks that they get, it's either based on opinion or they get wrong. But we got to take a break and we got to wrap up, because I want to tell you about what's happening in Albany. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
You have cabin fever? Are you dreaming of warmer weather? Now is the time to start enjoying the benefits of hot water therapy during Hesselson's Cabin Fever Reliever Hot Tub Sale. With 0% interest financing and additional sales incentives, Hesselson's makes it easier to start making every day better today. Huge savings on odds and end models, 0% financing, locally owned and operated since 1955. Why wait? Now is the best time to buy that hot tub you've always wanted during Hesselson's Cabin Fever Reliever Hot Tub Sale going on now. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Good morning. The snow showers out there this morning will gradually mix with a little rain as we do have temperatures push into the low 40s this afternoon. Winds a little breezy out of the west-southwest, so highs commonly in the low 40s. Then tonight, dropping into the upper teens with snow showers that should taper off rather early on. Then the rest of the forecast, not much for precipitation until potentially Sunday night and onward. We'll have more of a temperature roller coaster with warm.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio. Hey, I'm going to tell you about the Lights On with Energy Relief or Lower plan that the Assembly Republicans introduced at Albany. When we return in the top of the hour, we'll play a clip from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. We'll hear from Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski. Because at a time when New York, according to polls and the Albany Times-Union, this should come as no surprise, but affordability, the biggest issue for New York voters. The poll commissioned by the council and conducted by the firm Access Research surveyed roughly 1,100 people in Albany and Long Island across all age groups. And anyway, the economy, but affordability, the biggest issue for New York voters. Now, before we go to break, I know we were hypercritical, and we talked to many elected leaders about this, of the assisted suicide bill. This wasn't that long ago. I'm trying to think. Well, we talked about it a lot, but I want to just highlight that one of the major problems, because we talk about the slippery slope, and I know they put some guardrails in on the assisted suicide bill in New York, and you question those guardrails. This is what happens when it happened in Canada. Canada is now killing people in assisted suicide the same day they request it. So Canada's assisted suicide is a prime example of how you have that slippery slope, how you have something that they present as reasonable in a way, turning into something that wreaks havoc. But anyway, when we return, I just wanted to mention that because that was kind of an update on something we brought not that long ago. We've got a quick clip from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano when we return. Hey, don't forget, Sheriff Jim Allard will be our guest in the 7 o'clock hour. Whew. Busy morning. Stay with us. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour 2 moments away.
Wrongful death after a motor vehicle crash, the words say it all, but do not begin to capture the anguish, the suffering, and the loss. It's hard not to be emotional during a time like that, but that's exactly the time when you need someone to be clear-headed, eyes open, and know exactly what has to be done to protect survivors and to get some justice. That someone will be me, William Mattar, when you call 444-4444.
An albino buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bus.
Day 1 of the National Glider Competition.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Good morning. The snow showers out there this morning will gradually mix with a little rain as we do have temperatures push into the low 40s this afternoon. Winds a little breezy out of the west-southwest, so highs commonly in the low 40s. Then tonight, dropping into the upper teens with snow showers that should taper off rather early on. Then the rest of the forecast, not much for precipitation until potentially Sunday night and onward. We'll have more of a temperature roller coaster with
And we welcome you to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street in Corning. Coming up in just a few moments, we'll have Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard, but please keep your comments coming in regards to the State of the Union. Comment from one viewer. Good morning, Frank. The best State of the Union address of all time. The gloves were off, just like Pelosi was off the podium. A great moment was when Trump called out Mamdani's ridiculous snow shoveling requirements, which probably didn't get much media attention before last night. Thank you for that. Now, I want to mention and again, we can talk more about the State of the Union. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to. But I had to mention this because it crossed my desk yesterday, and I don't know if you'll hear it elsewhere because of the State of the Union. But Assembly Republicans introduced Lights On with Energy Relief Plan, which stands for lower, to secure New York's energy future. The newly appointed Assembly Republican leader Ed Ross said, from blackouts to bloated heating bills, a harsh reality has set in New York's energy consumers. While Democrats have signaled little concern or willingness to address skyrocketing costs, Assembly Republicans refuse to sit idly by while people are forced to decide between heating their homes or feeding their families. Our lower plan looks to tackle the current crisis head-on by getting immediate relief into the hands of New Yorkers and facilitate improved power generation to meet growing demands. The lower plan is a comprehensive approach that promises to deliver where the governor and legislative majorities have failed. The first part of the Assembly Republican proposal includes a quick relief initiative, energy price rebate check program, $2 billion in relief aimed at moderate and middle income households, utility bill credits requiring any surplus and uncommitted funds in the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority Climate Investment Account at the end of a fiscal year be returned to ratepayers as bill credits. Current estimates, about $2.4 billion. Immediate reinvestment into previously retired gas plants and investment in new natural gas plants. The second part of the lower plan identifies existing toxic climate directives and seeks to reverse their negative impacts. 1, eliminate unreasonable energy mandates and protect energy choice, including zero emission, school buses, energy and cooking choice protection, mixed fuel buildings, fossil fuel appliances, and supply rate increase notifications. Next, increase natural gas production and ease of transportation. Next, cost-benefit analysis of renewable energy goals based on CLCPA mandates. Establish the New York Advanced Nuclear Energy Office, conduct a feasibility study on the use of small modular reactors, and finally expand the Power Up grant program to support natural gas expansion projects and local pipelines. So, weighing in on this, Mr. Energy himself, even though he's now the ranking member on the Ways and Means Committee, you know energy policy is near and dear to his heart. Assemblyman Phil Palmisano had this to say.
Summer, there was a poll taking that was very telling. That poll said 71% of New Yorkers did not want a ban on natural gas, including 76% of independents. 2/3 of New Yorkers want a balance between renewable resources and natural gas, including 74% of Democrats. That same poll said that New Yorkers said utility prices were too high. Now, we don't need a poll to tell us that. We know it. We can talk to our neighbors and our friends. We know that's too high. But that poll was very clear. New Yorkers want energy choice and lower energy prices. Now, Governor Hochul has said she's for an all-of-the-above energy approach. She's for affordable and reliable energy. Unfortunately, her policies do not match the words. Now, Governor Hochul is really quick to blame the utilities for these rate increases, but her and our Democratic colleagues in the legislature failed to acknowledge that their green mandates are helping to drive up the prices of utility bills. Let me just share with you some, just before we get about our solutions. Here are some of the costs. The estimates for the CLCPA from the Climate Action Council plan and others, $250 billion to upward, more than $250 billion upwards to $500 billion. In July of 23, in a political article that was covered, the PSC approved $43 billion in future ratepayer increases to pay for green energy mandates. The Cap and Invest plan that was passed by Governor Hochul and the legislature, by their own admission, will increase prices at the pump for New Yorkers by 62 cents a gallon and increase natural gas home heating costs by 80%. The cost, by 3 different studies that were done, to convert your home over from natural gas to full electrification, anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000. The New York State Builders Association said the cost for the All Electrification Buildings Act will increase the price of home ownership by upwards to $25,000. The mother of all unfunded mandates, the electric school bus mandate, billions and billions of dollars, $8 to $15 billion in replacement costs, not even getting into charging and infrastructure improvements. And the one question on that I would love the media to ask the governor's office that I've never got an answer. Why are we asking school districts to convert their entire school fleet in 2035, a full 5 years before the state of New York has to convert their medium and heavy duty fleet? Why are we asking school districts and property taxpayers to be the guinea pig for the social experiment? Let the state of New York show it, they can do it first. You have the ACT regulation, the Advanced Clean Car regulation, which will devastate the trucking and auto industry in New York. And even the energy plan that was just recently approved. By their own estimates, the increase of energy costs per month under certain scenarios could be over $500 a month for New Yorkers. And the residential electricity rate in 2019 was 17 cents a kilowatt hour. Now it's over 25 cents a kilowatt hour, nearly 50% higher than the national average, as the leader mentioned. The NISO just came out with a white paper. We know the NISO is making sure the grid is reliable, but they cited it regarding the electricity costs, declining generation and supply, and retirements of our natural gas plants, rising fuel costs and pipeline constraints, and the growing demand driven by electrification, EVs, electric heat pumps, without adequate resource-based load replacement. And the NISO has also said we have short-term and long-term reliability gaps that need to be addressed if we want to keep power on for New York families and business. We need to actually double our generating capacity. Our total generating capacity with everything, wind, solar, hydro, natural gas, nuclear, is 41 gigawatts. We need 27 to 45 gigawatts of dispatchable emission-free resources by 2040 to meet these mandates. Wind and solar does not count. That's not dispatchable. And the technology we've been talking about, nuclear, there's hydrogen, there's carbon capture and sequestration. We're not there yet. We don't know what the technology is going to be. So we need natural gas. People want natural gas. It's reliable energy. And natural gas has always been referred to as a bridge fuel, right? You don't tear down a bridge before you build a new one, do you? No. You build the bridge first and then you do it. But unfortunately, the policies being advanced by this governor and by the Democrat majority are doing just that. It's designed to dismantle the affordable and reliable natural gas infrastructure supply and delivery system. It's designed to take away consumer choice on how you heat your home, cook your food, power your building, and the vehicle you drive. It will jeopardize the reliability of the grid. And that's not what we need. So we've offered some real solutions. We know we need immediate relief right now. That $2.4 billion sitting in NYSERDA reserves for green programs. Ask New Yorkers, they want relief now rather than subsidizing someone's electric vehicle purchase. They want real relief now than subsidizing someone's electric heat pump purchase. They want relief now. Also, we could also do is suspend all the taxes, fees, and assessments and surcharges on your utility bills. By some estimates, that's as much as 20% of a utility bill. Let's provide that direct relief now. And the other things we need to do is we need to build more dispatchable, reliable baseload power. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, natural gas. And we need to release the constraints on the supply system and the pipeline constraints as well. So we have real solutions that will make an impact, immediate impact and long-term impact if this governor and the Democrats in the legislature will join us in this mission. We need to reevaluate the CLCPA and the mandates that are in there so we can ensure reliability and affordability. But right now, we're off the mark. But make no mistake about it, I know this conference will continue to prioritize a common sense energy agenda that prioritizes affordability, reliability, feasibility, fuel diversity, and energy choice because New York families and businesses deserve it.
We thank Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, and this is in reference to the Lights Out with Energy Relief Plan, and Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski weighed in on this, saying energy affordability is not an abstract issue. It's hitting hardworking families across our district. The lower plan provides immediate relief while putting forward long-term solutions to make sure we keep the lights on and keep New York affordable. And we had mentioned some of the specifics of the bill before that. Sempolinski saying we need balance and common sense in our energy policy. This plan delivers relief today while securing a stronger, more reliable energy future. So I know you'd want me to pass that along to you, and we thank the Assemblyman and the Republicans in the Assembly for putting forth the lower plan, and hopefully something will come from it in Albany, but it is, as we know, always an uphill battle when we're discussing one-party rule. Okay. You guys, a couple of you slept in this morning because I'm starting to see the waves come in fast and furious. What did you think, if you are just joining us, of the State of the Union? Now, if you are just joining us, also we have Sheriff Jim Allard joining us in just a little bit. There's been, I'm not going to say mixed bag, there's been a lot of different topics that have been very interesting. What was your biggest takeaway from the State of the Union? We can read those when we come back from break with the sheriff, because it's still, you at the end of the day are the real commentators. You are the people that need your voices heard out there on what you thought of the State of the Union. So far, it's been overwhelmingly positive from this audience and from many of the outlets that we went to. Now, when you talk about the far left, New York Times, or you talk about CNN, yes, they had their negatives, but they had to admit to an extent that it was a positive speech to an extent. They had their negatives as well. But hey, stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. The sheriff's in the studio. Stay with us.
Suburban Propane is here for your residential and industrial propane needs. Serving the surrounding area for over 95 years, we take pride in our reliable delivery service with 24/7, 365 emergency service answered by company representatives. Call today to start your Suburban Propane service.
It's the home of activity. Release your inner audio engineer. Create with the 3D printer. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to your local library today.
Lease a brand new 2026 Chevy Equinox 1LT all-wheel drive with Geely's Loyalty or Conquest bonus for only $339 a month for 36 months. Make Carline simple. Drive your deal at Simmons Rockwell Chevrolet in Bath.
Did you know that children growing up with poor air quality have smaller lungs and higher rates of asthma than children that grow up with good air quality? And unfortunately, poor communities have poor air quality. IQ Air Foundation is working to change this. Today, the IQ Air Foundation provides filtration technology to schools with poor air quality through our Clean Air for Kids program. Our goal is to help over 50,000 school children every year breathe over 90% cleaner air indoors, helping to level the playing field, reduce barriers to learning, reduce sick days, and increase test scores. Mitigating poor air quality is key to environmental justice. Help Clean Air for Kids reach more children at IQAirFoundation.org.
Last summer, there was a poll taking.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, and in that studio, Sheriff Jim Allard. Good morning.
Good morning, Frank. It's a beautiful day in Steuben County.
I know. How are the roads?
They're fine.
Yeah, That's it. They weren't too bad this morning.
You're in upstate New York. Take a little extra time.
And it's February. So, so did you stay up?
I did.
Did you really?
I did. I didn't watch the rebuttal, but it was right until 11 o'clock.
An hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah.
From a guy that we're told is exhausted all the time, that isn't mentally
didn't
sharp.
Look at last night.
Isn't it amazing? And little things off the cuff that he'll come up with. Because, I'm sure that makes some Republicans nervous because you never know.
Right.
But, I mean, last night he was on fire, and I know they were critical of him. I think it was at CNN they called it like showmanship about asking Democrats to stand up. That was brilliant politics.
I thought it was, too. I thought that he very well illustrated the difference in the ideologues and the length to which that side will go to protest anything about anything that he is in favor of. I thought he did a really good job of showing heroes.
Yes.
And showing that there are American heroes still today, and that there's hope, and that our country is not done. It's just embarking on a new chapter. I thought he did a very good job of delivering that message.
I know. I thought it was a very positive message. Now, listen, he's still Trump. He's going to have some things in there. But at the end of the day, I thought it was the State of the Union we needed. And you can tell the media is a little scared about it because they built it up too high, that this could save the midterms.
Yes.
And now they're coming up with these things that really don't matter in the scheme of his speech.
Right. And you know, if you hate President Trump, you thought it was terrible.
You hated it.
and if you're, I think the ambivalent ones, the middle of the road people saw it and went, oh yeah, that is what we're about.
Yeah.
And I think he did a good job reaching out to those folks that could go either way.
I agree. And it's interesting because you've watched a lot of State of the Unions. We all have. If it was a Democrat, if this was Joe Biden that gave somewhat of the same speech, not that he could have, but they would have said it was the best speech he's ever given and maybe the best State of the Union of all time.
Right.
And in this case, they begrudgingly point out a few things, but they're not happy.
I thought the Democrats embarrassed themselves.
Yeah. I do too. And he led him right to that trap. It was brilliant. All right, enough on the State of the Union, unless you want to talk more. But
no, that's good. That's good.
You got enough of it last night?
Well, and I try to stay away from national stuff as much as I can.
No, I know, but still,
that's not my forte.
State of the Union. But so tell us about your trip to Washington. Tell us a special treat that you had that the viewers need to know about.
Yeah. So I went down to the National Sheriff's Conference in D.C. Beginning of February. And it was kind of funny the night before I went, and this goes back to actually I'm going to give you a nice segue.
Yeah.
But when all the folks came up to protest the false information they were given about what our contract with the federal marshals was, I saw Mr. Antonides there, who is Terry Cole's uncle.
Yeah.
So I went up and gave him a hug because he's just a fantastic guy. And I texted Jeff Cole that night and said, hey, ran into your Uncle Tony. And by the way, I'm headed to D.C.
Yeah.
I don't know if your brother's in town. Next thing I know, I get a text from Terry Cole saying, what day are you available? I want to bring you in and give you a tour of the headquarters of the DEA.
How cool is that?
And have a sit down with you. And so we did that. And I took the sheriff from Cortland County who knew Terry when he was a young copper, and the retired chief from Ithaca PD went with us also.
How cool is that?
And we got a full tour of the DEA headquarters and had a sit down with Administrator Cole and his top aides. And it was a very fruitful discussion about where we see illegal drugs now, and he kind of backed up what we were saying with what he's seeing with the cartels, and it was pretty amazing. But to be sitting there, his office overlooks the Pentagon and the Washington Monument.
Wow.
And to just be sitting there with the DEA is a 12,000 person agency. The head of that, who is from Corning, whose grandfather worked at Corning PD, and who I've known since he was a very young man, it was surreal. And he told me that 39 times he's been called over to present to President Trump directly.
Wow.
In the Oval Office since he's been in there. When you heard President Trump talk about how safe Washington, D.C. is, Administrator Cole was in charge of that effort in D.C. And, it's when you look at, there's so many local folks that have done so well on the national scene. It's just amazing to see, again, a Corning kid, and that's what he told me. He said, "Tell everybody at home I'm still Corning proud, Corning strong."
Isn't that great?
And it was a surreal moment for me.
It was almost overlooked how important his role was
Yeah.
with the Corning connection. I don't feel like it's gotten the traction or the conversation anyway in town that it should.
Well, in the media.
Oh, media, yeah.
And I did secure from him that he'd be willing to come speak at our Sheriff's Summer Conference.
Oh, there you go. Keep us up to that. he gives you a tour, and you're like, hey, by the way, one last favor.
By the way,
save this date.
Right, because he did go through the local police academy here in Corning before he went federal. And it was just amazing, And
what's the headquarters like?
I think he's on the 12th floor.
Okay.
It's they have a nice museum to the DEA. They have a wall of honor for remembering their fallen heroes, which has way too many names on it. And it was you could tell that there's a breath of fresh air there, and it's a very efficient place to work. When we went back to the conference, one of his folks gave us a ride, and he was just telling me that it's like a perfect storm, because Administrator Cole is a boots-on-the-ground guy. He's been in a lot of really dangerous places, doing a lot of dangerous work. And to have him in there with President Trump in the White House, they're back in the enforcement game. And he said, we're gonna ride this as long as we can and do all the good work that we can while we can, because we know it won't be forever. But right now, the DEA is enforcing laws, which is in their name.
Which should be the way it is. Was everybody at the conference jealous? Did you show them your cell phone
They
pictures?
were a little shocked, because I invited a bunch of sheriffs to go with me, but it was funny. Our drug enforcement committee meeting was at the same time.
What's the chances?
And one of Administrator Cole's senior aides was at that meeting and then came over to the meeting with us.
So funny.
It was very, very interesting, but an awful lot of talk about the border at this conference, and an awful lot of talk about the left attack on the office of sheriff. If you saw that out in Oregon and in other places, it's that 2020, let's roll out again and vilify law enforcement, both local and nationally, because that's how it worked in that election. You can see that the left is trying to gain traction with that once again.
They are.
And we see that in New York City.
Yeah, with Mamdani, but also just with what we talked about with ICE, which this is the way we'll keep people hooked, because we'll talk about this when we return. A lot to cover. We're just getting warmed up, so stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
To the me I used to be, before talking to 988.
I felt alone.
I thought seeing hard things was just part of the job. I thought that having a bad day at work meant I was failing. But then I connected with someone at 988.
A real person texted back. Someone listened without judgment.
Now I know. Now I know it's okay to let someone help me too.
And I'm stronger than I thought.
We hear you. Call, text, or chat 988.
With the game full swing, stop in Hesselson's today and see why Ona Sauna will bring calmness and stress relief naturally. Infrared, traditional rock saunas, and hybrid saunas. Hesselson's has them all on display in their expanded and remodeled showroom. Better circulation. Detox the skin through sweating. Feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. Now is the time to make every day better with your own sauna, starting at just $39.99. And remember, after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
It's the tea party for Crystal with Miss Marshmallow.
Oh, wow.
And Sarah's first day of management training at Goodwill. When you donate to Goodwill, you help provide skills training and career placement. And the things you love start a new life too.
Good morning. The snow showers out there this morning will gradually mix with a little rain, as we do have temperatures push into the low 40s this afternoon. Winds a little breezy out of the west-southwest, so highs commonly in the low 40s. Then tonight, dropping into the upper teens with snow showers that should taper off rather early on. Then the rest of the forecast, not much for precipitation until potentially Sunday night and onward. We'll have more of a temperature roller coaster.
We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. And that studio, I think you know by now, Sheriff Allard is there. And there's a couple of interesting ones, a couple of things about the State of the Union, which I'm sure you knew you would get. Just other people commenting. Morning to each. Just curious, what do the pins on your collar represent?
The pins? Oh, these.
Yeah, the stars.
So that's a rank. Actually, most sheriffs have 4 stars.
Okay.
In Steuben County, we decided long ago in our Chiefs Association that all the chiefs would have 2 stars and the sheriff would have 3 stars.
Oh, interesting.
But in many counties, I would say probably the vast majority, the sheriff has 4 stars, which would be equated to a 4-star general.
Oh, okay.
And the undersheriff has 3.
Okay.
So when I go to other counties, like yesterday, I was at the Broome County Sheriff's Office for a meeting. The undersheriff has the same rank designation as I do.
Oh, so this is a great question. This is a great question from the viewer.
But it's a rank designation. It doesn't mean anything other than I'm the head of the agency.
Gotcha. Okay, well, great question.
Mm-hmm.
All right, quick about the State of the Union. Ken says, so one of the few times that all the Democrats stood and applauded was when Trump said he is pushing a bill to eliminate insider trading. If I was a betting man, I would bet the farm that if the bill made it to the floor of either body, no Democrat would actually vote for it. It's a good, fair point. And he continues and he said, I can paraphrase the Democrat rebuttal for Sheriff Allard, because you said you missed it.
Yeah.
Everything Trump said was a lie. We're the only party that is on the side of the people. Americans overwhelmingly side with us on every issue. If you want to be on the winning side of this year's election, you have to vote for Democrats.
There you go.
But you knew that was going to be the speech. I hear there was kind of an issue with the teleprompter too, which I wouldn't want to be in that position. They never seem to go well with the rebuttals.
No.
On both parties.
Oh, there was an issue with the teleprompter for the rebuttal. I didn't stay up for that. I haven't heard an awful lot good about the Virginia governor, so I was tired and I knew I had to get up. So
yeah, sorry. Well, I'm not the best.
Somebody scheduled me the day after.
I know. I got to start doing a better job of that. But there's a lot going on. You had mentioned, well, before we talk about the deal with the marshals and U.S. Marshal, and I know that was a major issue. I can't wait to hear your thought on it. But there's a lot of change happening at the sheriff's office.
There is.
Kind of a downer.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I've been the luckiest guy in the history of the sheriff's office to have John McNellis as my undersheriff.
Yeah.
And when I first introduced him to the legislature, I said, "You're going to love this guy. He's the exact opposite of me. He's quiet and he's smart." and they kind of looked at me like, "Hey?" But he brought a wealth of knowledge and experience and intelligence. He complimented me so well because his experience was in major cases,
right,
and in investigations and in the hierarchy of the state police, where my experience obviously has been local police, training, and leadership. So between the two of us,
perfect.
Boom, right? Great package. And he is so good at what he does. We've had folks from the private sector trying to pick him off, and that's exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah.
A company that does school safety and behavioral threat assessment management, which are two of his passions, approached him and offered him significantly more than what he's making as undersheriff. And he's got to look at what's best for his family,
right?
But
also the issue at hand, what he'll be working towards.
Yes,
I mean that's a
pretty
win-win,
cool stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's very, very good at it.
Yeah.
And he teaches behavioral threat assessment across the state now for New York State.
Okay.
In his role as undersheriff, so he's going to be doing that full time, and it looks like April 1-ish will be his last day, April 1 or April 2, and so then we're tasked with filling that vacancy and all of the cascading vacancies that occur from that. And it's always been my belief in my statement to our folks that if you're in a supervisory position and you haven't prepared and developed someone to take your spot,
right,
and that you haven't prepared and developed your successor, you're not doing your job.
Right.
So we're very lucky that Undersheriff McNellis has done that.
Yes.
And Brian Logsdon, who is the lieutenant in charge of the road patrol currently, will step into that role, I think, flawlessly, and we'll get him some support because The other thing is, Under Sheriff McNellis worked a tremendous amount, more than he needed to, because he's passionate about what he does. So we'll try to get the new undersheriff some administrative help, and then someone will get promoted to lieutenant, and someone will get promoted to that position, and on down the line. So there'll be some major changes here in the next few months, but I feel like we've done a very good job of being prepared for this eventuality.
How long does something like that take to get everybody back up to that?
Oh, it'll be a couple months.
I would say, I would think so.
Yeah. I mean,
and even then, there's going to be things that he did that is going to take a while to learn.
Right.
That's not a quick thing.
One of the best pieces of advice I got when I went from undersheriff to sheriff, the sheriff of Wayne County called me, and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing today that you did yesterday?"
Yeah.
And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What are you doing today that you did yesterday?" And I go, "Well, I've got programs I started and things I'm passionate about." He goes, No, stop it. Yeah. You're the sheriff now. You have to do the sheriff's job.
Yeah.
Your undersheriff has to do the undersheriff job, and you have to make that clean cut.
That's tough.
It is tough. And so that's, they'll face that. But I have every confidence that it's going to go well. And I think I've talked to, the chiefs and leaders in our agencies in the county, and they all support the decision. So.
Well, and we wish him the best of luck and congratulations.
He'll do very well. He will.
It'll be good for us.
Yeah.
As a community.
Well, it'll be good for us as a county that, again, the culture that we've built will continue.
Totally agree. Now here's the big issue people have been waiting for. So last time we talked, it was just kind of the run-up to, it all started with social media lies, right?
Correct. Misinformation on social media.
And I saw from a lot of people that I wouldn't even say are political
Yep.
by it. And that's been my anger on this program, that if you are passionate about your belief in something, you shouldn't have to lie to your fellow believers.
Shouldn't have to misrepresent to trick them into doing your bidding.
Doing your bidding and coming to the legislative meeting to protest. So they got bigger numbers than they deserved, because of the idea that there was going to be an ICE detention facility built in Steuben County. As soon as you saw it at face value, you said, that fits your narrative too much on the left. It's not the case.
Well, and that's what we see over and over again is the use of social media and the algorithm that looks at how long you're reading a specific topic.
Right.
That becomes your feed. And then everything that shows up on your social media is based on what you've previously looked at.
It's an echo chamber.
Yeah. And so when this went out and I, they were, you got to be happy because they did watch and copy parts of your show.
I know. I heard all about
You have
that.
a bunch of whole new viewers.
I'm sure. I guarantee they're not watching every weekday morning at 6.
I did get scolded for laughing too much.
Oh, really?
I had one lady that called
on the show?
Emailed me. Yes, I laughed too much on the show, and I said I'm going to pass that on to my wife because she says the exact same thing.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's not fair. I disagree. As host, I disagree.
But I got probably 50, 60 emails, but they were all scripted.
Yeah, same thing.
They all said the same thing, and same thing with the people would call, leave a voicemail, and say, "Don't call me back," because that was the script.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear, or in that group, nobody wanted to hear the truth.
Right.
And so I answered every email that came in. I did.
Yeah.
And I said, you've been misinformed. This is what's happening. It's been in place since 2000, I think it was 2005, 2003. This is nothing new, and this has nothing to do with ICE detention.
Yeah.
So I just did a quick look yesterday. We haven't had an ICE detainee since 2015.
So what was this all about?
This was a rallying cry to create I believe it was a rallying cry, my own belief, that it was a rallying cry to create this false narrative that everyone is against ICE. And, when you look at it, there were 100 people there, not to downplay their attendance, but that's 1/10% of the population of Steuben County. And mostly what they said is, we don't like ICE.
Right.
And we don't want ICE coming here. This is what bothers me with the social media platform putting out this information. ICE is and I got beat up for this by one person too. ICE is a recognized branch of the federal government. Under the United States Code, they have a job to do.
Yeah.
And it's to detain and arrest people who are not in this country legally. Plain and simple. That's their job.
Right.
Their job is not to perform traffic violation or to perform traffic enforcement.
You're right.
Or to do crowd control.
That's been the biggest
That's
problem.
not their job. That's local law enforcement's job. And when local law enforcement doesn't do their job, when ICE is performing theirs, bad things happen. That's why what Governor Hochul is talking about is so incredibly dangerous to New Yorkers. Because if you say local law enforcement can't help, we just saw it in Geneva.
Yeah.
Where they got run into, and then there's a foot pursuit. If local law enforcement doesn't assist in that, bad things are going to happen. And you can't help but look at what happened in Minnesota and say that was a predestined violence. You're encouraging people to commit violent acts against a legitimate law enforcement branch, and you're encouraging them to commit criminal acts.
I know.
And then bad things happen. Well, when you encourage people to commit violence against law enforcement, bad things are going to happen.
Exactly. And that's the problem that I have with a protest like that. When they're not presenting the truth.
Those weren't protests.
No, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
Fanning the flames is what bothers me. Like what I'm saying is at the legislative meeting.
Yes.
When you're fanning the flames and making up, because there's a lot of people that I saw, and it's anecdotal on social media, that were outraged, who I've never known to be political. But that it was so cut and dry at that time, and they were pushing this misrepresentation of what was going on. So it became very frustrating because, again, it boils down to, if you believe in your issue, just tell us the truth.
Right. Right. And I called one of the leaders of the misinformation, who wasn't even here. They were in Hawaii.
So, okay.
And I called them, and they said, "Oh, you don't need to call me back. I don't want you to call me back." I said, "No, I want to find out where you got this information from."
Because it was cut from whole. There was nothing truthful about it whatsoever.
And it was packaged in a way that, again, when you looked at it at face value, it's like, oh my gosh, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Completely misinformed. Yes.
Well, and tell me, because I see after they shifted from that, their new talking point was, the new ICE is not the same as the old ICE.
Oops, I laughed again.
Yeah, I know. Explain that to me, because correct me if I'm wrong, Obama's ICE under Tom Homan
is today's ICE.
Is today's ICE under Tom Homan.
Yes.
Where's that talking point coming from, or is it just, hey, we already misled about the detention center, so now we're just going to tell you how much
we've got to pivot.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
You know, there was a big talk about they're not trained.
Yeah.
They only have 47 days of training. Well, that's 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's 10 weeks of training. That's longer than basic training was when I was in the Army.
Yeah.
And what they don't tell you is after that initial basic training that Border Patrol, ICE, and Homeland Security investigators all go through, then they go and do their separate training.
Right.
Which takes about 6 months to complete. Yeah, you know, the misrepresentation on this topic, it just reminds me so much of 2020 when we demonized law enforcement. Law enforcement was horrible. They're all racist, and all they want to do is kill black people.
Yeah.
That was the message.
A talking point that from the media highlighting that.
Yes,
message.
And we only, law enforcement only arrests black people or people of color, and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And this is the same. So you've got, what was it, 5,000 agents in Minneapolis doing probably 10,000 interactions a day, and we've got 2 bad things to look at.
Yeah. And like you said, it was a powder keg.
And it was intentionally a powder keg, flamed by the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota.
Couldn't agree more. But we got to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
I got you.
Don't worry, I got you. Oh, thank you.
Don't worry, I got you. I got you.
Thanks.
Look what I got you. Don't worry, I got you.
Having a safe home is essential to many aspects of our lives. From a sense of community and safety, to physical and mental health, to economic security and independence. Most homes in our communities are not accessible and are not designed to accommodate the changes that come with age, including the risk of falling. The Older Adults Home Modification Program helps reduce the risk of falls, improves safety, and increases accessibility and independence. Through this program, Rebuilding Together works with older adults to provide no-cost preventative home repairs so our neighbors can safely age in place in the homes and communities they love. To learn more, visit rebuildingtogether.org/safeathome.
Good morning. The snow showers out there this morning will gradually mix with a little rain as we do have temperatures push into the low 40s this afternoon. Winds a little breezy out of the west-southwest, so highs commonly in the low 40s. Then tonight, dropping into the upper teens with snow showers that should taper off rather early on. Then the rest of the forecast, not much for precipitation until potentially Sunday night and onward. We'll have more of a temperature roller coaster with warm.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hasselson studio. In that studio, it's the sheriff. All right, a couple of comments from viewers. Good morning, Frank, and good morning, Sheriff Allard.
Good morning.
Sheriff, keep doing what you're doing. It's working, and keep laughing.
I appreciate that.
Comment. You're getting a lot of nice. Sheriff Allard, thank you for representing and protecting Steuben County with integrity, and for coming to Frankly Speaking. Anybody that's anybody goes on Frankly Speaking.
There you nice go. How about that?
This is another.
Was that from your mom?
I probably. I didn't check the number. I don't check the number. Another one. Good morning, Frank and Sheriff. I just love Sheriff Allard. I always watch when I know he's going to be on. He's amazing. By the way, I love your laughter. I'm from Tioga County, PA, and I wish I knew our sheriff as well. You have a lot of viewers from PA.
Cool.
Could you also get our sheriff on your program? Amazing show, Frank. Thank you. I can definitely reach out. Yeah. Absolutely. That'd be great. I used to back in the radio days.
Yeah.
Okay, we kind of glanced over this, and I've got a couple other questions that we'll get to. I don't want you to think I forgot about you. But I kind of cut you off, and I want to talk about Hochul's ban on working with the U.S. Marshals, working with ICE, these type of things, because it happened to come right at the time that we were talking about it. It was right after the legislative meeting.
Well, I think the most telling thing is when Bruce Blakeman of Nassau County announced he's running for governor. Nassau County has balanced their budget a lot due to, especially their jail budget, due to housing ICE detainees, and they're also a 287G county, as we are. Once he announced, then suddenly the governor announced that she's going to do a chapter amendment to the budget outlawing working with ICE.
Yeah.
I find that a little coincidental, and I don't believe in coincidences. So that tells you that there are those that would probably look at that and say, she's not doing this out of public safety, but out of political necessity. I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. If you bar local law enforcement from working with ICE when they're in your community, you are creating the same situation that was in Minnesota. And all these people say, we don't want ICE here because we don't want what happened in Minnesota. ICE is already here.
Right.
They've been here.
Right.
They'll continue to be here. They've been in Ithaca, and nobody knew it.
Yep.
They have a job to do. Whether you like the job they have to do or not, hey, that's up to you as a citizen to vote. But they have a bona fide job to do, and they've had it since 2003.
Right.
Since 9/11, when we identified the fact that people that were coming in our borders without being vetted were a significant danger to the safety of the United States of America. So, barring this idea that state and local government should not work with the federal government is insane.
Yeah.
It's illogical. And whether you like the president or not, don't let that guide your decision making. And I think you're going to see, I know one of the things he brought up last night was outlawing sanctuary cities and states.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
I don't see how a state, and again, my wife's a history and government teacher, immigration is a federal mandate.
Yeah.
How does a state say you can't perform federal duties here in our state? That takes me back to Jim Crow days, when the federal government had to come in and tell the states you can't pass laws this way. And not, I don't want to open up a Pandora's box there, but
no, but I mean, it's fair when you talk about the law.
Correct.
That's what I haven't understood from the beginning, how sanctuary states and cities can quote unquote get away with it.
And I swore an oath to support the Constitution of both the United States and the state of New York. To tell me that I can't assist and do my lawful required enforcement in assisting a federal agency is ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's illogical.
Yeah. So do you? The sad thing is, I think.
So I'm kind of against that.
I would think. Okay, just to make clear, I've got to say though, with the way Albany is and one-party rule, it makes you think this is going to happen.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I don't see any way where. Especially right now.
We are working as a sheriff's association. We're trying to get a meeting with the governor before this goes in, because it's exponential also. Our northern border state counties, those that share a border with Canada, have several contracts with the federal government to assist in immigration enforcement on the border. And several of them, I mean, these are big money reimbursement programs that are going to affect the bottom line for those counties. And obviously the 287G affects all of us. I was talking with Sheriff Akshar yesterday in Broome County about this very topic, because he's also a 287G county. And you know, it's not just a border county issue, it's a statewide issue. And it's almost as if the governor is attempting to create the same situation we saw in Minnesota here in New York, and that is irresponsible.
And isn't the irony about here in Steuben County that the only change was we were going to get more money?
Yeah.
You know that, I mean...
Well, yeah, I mean, right now I'm eligible for $130,000 in federal reimbursement that I haven't submitted for, because I've got to talk to the legislature and see if they want me to or not.
Speaking of that, we're going to ask a question about that here in just a moment, but we got to take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and Horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
The best hockey rink?
Ask Google. The best jewelry store? Ask Google.
The best Ram dealer?
Ask Google. We did. Google reviews from customers rank Ferrario Ram in Elmira the highest Ram dealer in our area.
If you don't see me, I can't save you any money.
Check out the new Rams with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty during Ram Truck Month.
Visit Ferrario in Elmira or at Ferrario.com.
It's the Jeep and Stay sales event at Chilson Wilcox. Enjoy huge savings on the most awarded SUV brand ever, Jeep. Jeep loyalty means bigger savings for current Jeep and Stellantis owners. Save $8,300 on a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee. From Wranglers to Grand Cherokees, every Jeep is priced to move, but these savings won't last forever, and it's Ram Truck Month too. Save $10,500 on a 2026 Ram 1500 and $9,000 on a 2026 Ram 2500. The Jeep President's Day sales event and Ram Truck Month happening now at Chilson
Well, frankly speaking, Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. In that studio, Sheriff Jim Allard. All right, we've got a lot to cover, but first, and people have been waiting patiently. This person says, "Morning, men." That's a nice way to put that. Morning, men. Can we get an Allard for governor petition going?
Well, it's funny. The lieutenant governor that's been announced is Sheriff Todd Hood from Madison County, who's a very good friend of mine. He and his wife Kelly have been great friends to Wendy and I. He came in as sheriff the year after I did. He just got reelected last year for his third term. Phenomenal guy. He was a career guy at Syracuse PD. He was a narcotics investigator on their SWAT team, retired, became a DA investigator for Onondaga County, and then ran for sheriff. And so he brings an incredible amount of experience, but he's a very religious man. He's very grounded, very conservative, and just a straight shooter, a guy of integrity. When I heard he was picked, I was so happy. Yeah. I reached out to him earlier this week and got some information on their platform, and I didn't realize how much Bill Blakeman is engaged in public safety. And
I know and again, we can argue how many times we've seen him in things, but the times that I have seen him and I thought he did his best is when he was talking law enforcement.
Yep, and Governor Pataki endorsed him.
Yeah.
And, that's, for me, that's a pretty strong endorsement. But I know they're starting to travel the state and make appearances and do all of that, but I couldn't ask for a better representative for us than Todd Hood as lieutenant governor. He's just a phenomenal guy. He's got 3 sons. All 3 sons are in law enforcement.
Okay, good.
He is squared away.
That's great. And I'm sure in the coming months we'll be talking a lot more about Bruce Blakeman. I do think he's been doing a good job when Governor Hochul oversteps it, like when we talk about ICE and things like that. So I think he's doing a good job. But a comment that I was really people did want to know if you wanted to run for governor. That's a big issue. But the real issue that I meant to ask, the real question that someone asked early on, I do appreciate it, was: is there any updates on the appeal?
No, it's still out there in the Netherlands. Again, the county requested to push it off further. I think they just keep trying to. This is a strategy to keep pushing off the inevitability, but it is inevitable.
And the sting. They don't want that. They don't want that, because let's face it. Right now, it's a lull for them is great.
Right, and it gives them the opportunity to try and get the attention on something else.
But that's only a matter
people
of time.
haven't forgot.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
People haven't forgot what happened.
Because it's petition season.
Yeah.
And so I took out some yesterday. Not a ton. It was cold yesterday.
Yes,
but of course, it's still the topic.
It is.
It's amazing to me. And there's not even anything really in our way that's on.
Yeah, and there's been no closure on the county side.
Yeah. No.
So no admission.
I know. This isn't a surprise, but I do appreciate the question. I know we had to get to it, but and I'm sure you'll let us know as soon as something does come.
I absolutely will.
I don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
It'll probably be a Friday evening media dump. They'll do how.
Well, I'll wait till Monday.
Okay, please
do.
And
actually, when that happens, we may have to do a series of. It's so complicated to go through from start to finish.
Yeah. Think about the first time that we had to bring it up here, and now it's been. And most people are really astute on this program that have been following it, but still, it's almost like we need a PowerPoint presentation.
Well, when Mr. Ricalto did his letter and said it's 500,000, it's approaching that now.
Wow. There you go,
taxpayer
folks.
money, but if you got $100 million in reserve, I guess that doesn't bother you.
That's a good point. On that note, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking to wrap up. Get your questions for the sheriff.
You can just keep watching and scrolling, and the world will still feel like it's falling apart.
Widespread misalignment.
Highest hospitalization.
Or you can take action by joining a movement that's creating real and lasting change instead. Partnering with communities around the globe to help uproot poverty and plant seeds of hope for a brighter tomorrow. Because at World Vision, we believe that no situation is hopeless. Join a movement that's changing the world for good.
Good morning. The snow showers out there this morning will gradually mix with a little rain as we do have temperatures push into the low 40s this afternoon. Winds a little breezy out of the west-southwest, so highs commonly in the low 40s. Then tonight, dropping into the upper teens with snow showers that should taper off rather early on. Then the rest of the forecast, not much for precipitation until potentially Sunday night and onward. We'll have more of a temperature roller coaster with warmth.
Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. In that studio, Sheriff Jim Allard. This has been an exciting show. Comment from a viewer. Thank you for the heads up on the sheriff running with Blakeman. He sounds like just what we need. They must get we must get them all out and upstate and get every voter they can convinced that the nonsense in New York State must stop. Yeah, they have to get out there. I agree with that. And I know that when Blakeman was first picked, he said, we're going to come to upstate and we're going to tell everybody what we're about.
Well, and that's what I told Todd when I called him. I go, I don't really know much about your guy. He hasn't been up this way. Can you send me some info on him?
Yeah.
And then when I read it, I was thoroughly impressed.
So we'll hear a lot more in the future. All right, boating courses.
Yeah, still going once a month.
The heavy-hitting news right at the end. How's corrections officers? How's everything going there?
So we're still open recruiting. Again, if you have ever considered that job, we're a great place to start.
Yeah.
And they get upset with me because we keep hiring folks that come into corrections, and then we hire them on the roadside for deputy sheriff positions.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But we've hired a lot of really good young folks, and they're working out very, very well.
Oh, good. And now 2 new deputy sheriffs?
Yep. We just got 2 new we hired, and they're in the academy now.
Okay.
Down here to Big Flats. One came from 911. And let's talk about what a terrible shame. The deputy director of 911 passed away last week. Suddenly, 43 years old.
That's horrible.
Our heart goes out to the family and to that community. He was also fire chief in that community. But
I'm glad you thought of that at the end, because that's so sad.
Yeah, one of their former dispatchers is now deputy.
Okay.
So
yeah,
in the academy, and we have 2 more vacancies to fill.
Okay.
Yeah.
So busy time at the sheriff's office.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks for giving us so much time this morning. Good luck at the Lincoln Day dinner.
Thank you.
I think maybe we saw a little bit.
A little preview.
Okay.
A little preview.
Well, I don't think you need luck. I think you're doing great. So thanks for joining us. Join us tomorrow morning for Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Allegiance flight from Elmira to Myrtle Beach starts May 22nd, 2026. Whether it's a weekend escape or a week in the sun, Myrtle Beach is closer than ever. Non-stop to sun, sand, and seaside days. From takeoff to toes in the sand, your coastal getaway starts right here at Elmira Corning Regional. Mornings on the boardwalk, afternoons on the golf course, and evenings with oceanfront dining or a flight away with Allegiant's new direct flight. Starts May 22nd, 2026. Book now at AllegiantAir.com.